Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. Earthbound has just received new support in the OCG, and I just wanted to quickly talk about it because it is pretty interesting. So we're going to just quickly go through all of the new Earthbound cards, and I just saw a whole bunch of really interesting cards, and I was like, oh, I should talk about this. So yeah, we're just going to go through them real quick. Starting off with the Earthbound Prison Groundkeeper, which is a level 1 Dark Fiend tuner. Effect monster with 300/300. You can only use the first effect once per turn, which is if it is normal or special, you can special summon a level 5 or lower Earthbound monster from deck or grave. It's just a free special summon, which is already crazy. It is notably a level 5 or lower, so you can't actually special summon any of the big Earthbound Immortals, but that's totally fine because there's an entire archetype around this now. Except for itself and Spirit specifically, which is kind of interesting. So we'll see what that is later. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except for Synchro and Fusion monsters, which is very interesting. Because, yeah, the limitations are only that you cannot special summon except for Synchro and Fusion, which, I mean, that's pretty generic. So yeah, for a free on-summon, special summon of another monster, you're only locked into Fusion and Synchros. We'll see how that goes. Earthbound monsters you control also cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect while there's a card in the field zone. So there you go. Earthbound Immortals all have that stipulation where they need a card in the field zone. So interesting. Moving on, we have Earthbound Immortal Prison Stone Sweeper. So this is notably a level 5 Dark Fiend effect monster, which can be special summoned off of the Groundkeeper, which is pretty interesting. 1600, and you can only special summon it with the first effect of this card's name once per turn, and you can only use the second effect once per turn as well. If there is a card in the field zone, you can special summon this card from your hand. Notably, does not start a chain. So that's pretty nice. Just an inherent summon is very good, especially if it's just as generic as controlling a field card or a card in your field zone, which is very easy to accomplish, especially now that the other card, Ancient Fairy Dragon, is now once again available to us. So any way to get to a level 7 Synchro means that you have the ability to special summon this card from your hand for free, which is just a level 5, which isn't all that crazy. But, you know, paired with Groundkeeper, that's pretty decent. However, these two paired together gives you a 6, which is interesting. You can discard this card as well to add a level 3 or lower Fiend Tuner monster from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except for Fusion and Synchros. I'm going to quickly look up what are the level 3 or lower Fiend Tuner monsters. So, 1 second. Alright, so here are all of the tuners that it could potentially surge out. It's not like an insane amount, but I mean, it's a lot of Infernity, it's Red Resonator. Notably, it's Supe, which is something. Also Rubik, which is interesting. Decatron is searchable due to that card, which is actually probably one of the reasons to actually play this on something like Infernoid. Being able to just grab up Decatron is not bad. Not that Infernoid is playable, but hey, that's something of note. So yeah, and then obviously the actual card that we previously talked about. So some interesting cards, but nothing too noteworthy. I think you can also go for there's one of these Crimson, one of these Resonators. I think it's this one. No. We can special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your hand. That's not bad. Red Resonator's not bad to grab off of that. This one, Crimson Resonator. So you could just get a free special summon of a level 2 tuner as well off of that. So again, there are definitely applicable cards for that as just a generic search. That's really kind of cool. All right, moving on, we have ourselves Earthbound Prison Linewalker, which is a level 3 Dark Fiend Tuner effect monster. Hey, that's a searchable target. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is a normal or special, you can add a Earthbound Prison or Harmonic Synchro Fusion from deck or grave to your hand. Notably, this does also get from grave, which is fantastic. I love when cards can also recur from other locations or search from other locations. So yeah, that's very nice. And then if a card you could, if you control a level 6 or higher Earthbound monster, any Earthbound monster, including Earthbound Immortals, except for Spirit, you could banish this card from your graveyard, then target an opponent's effect monster, special summon from the extra deck, shuffle it into the deck, then your opponent can special summon a monster with the same name from their extra deck. Hold on. You could target an opponent's effect monster, special summon from the extra deck, shuffle it into the deck, then your opponent can special summon a monster with the same name from their extra. But it doesn't ignore summoning conditions, so you could potentially put back something that says like it must be Synchro summoned, it must be Fusion summoned, or something along those lines, and just like turn it off. That's a very weird effect, because it's one, not a quick effect, and two, not very good. The first effect is actually, it allows you to grab up this one or this one, which isn't bad. Yeah, it's not bad. It's just another way to get another card onto your side of the field. It's also a level 3 tuner, which gives you access to a level 8, which is pretty interesting. So yeah, moving along, we have a level 8 Dark Fiend Fusion Effect monster, so not a Synchro, dang. But Earthbound Servant Geo Kraken, interesting, just requires any 2 Earthbound monsters, including the Immortals, and you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can add a field spell from your deck to your hand. Whoa. Or your grave. That is impressive. That's just a good card. This grabs any field spell. This will be used in FTKs. I don't know what FTK in particular, but I do expect this, specifically in the OCG more so than anything, to be used in FTKs. This is a very good card. Just immediately. Okay. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck, you can destroy as many of their monsters special summon this turn as possible, and if you do, inflict 800 for each monster destroyed by this effect. Oh wow, that's actually pretty good. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck, you can destroy as many of their monsters special summoned this turn as possible. Wow. Okay. That's pretty good. That's just a good effect. That's... Huh. Yeah, that's just a Raigeki. It's more of like Torrential Tribute, but that's still very good. That's definitely something that you have to like specifically play around. To be fair, so far, I haven't seen anything that is like, oh, this is going to be a tier 1 deck. But from what I've seen, this is good. These are actually like good cards, and we could see an Earthbound deck actually be playable, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have Earthbound Servant Geograsha, which requires an Earthbound Fusion and an Earthbound Synchro. Immediately, I'm not liking this. It's a level 10 Dark Fiend Fusion effect monster with 3,1800. It must be Fusion summoned. There you go. Stuff like that. Can't be summoned off of this guy's effect. Hilarious. Must be Fusion summoned, and you only can use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster, change that monster's attack and defense notably to 0. That's actually pretty good and pretty impressive. If an opponent's monster is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy all cards they control. Yes, I think these are just like copying the effects of other Earthbound Immortals. I know for a fact that this is an effect of one of the Earthbound Immortals. I'm not entirely sure if this is one of the effects. It sounds like one of the effects, so I wouldn't say for certain, but that's pretty interesting. And then also, if this face-up card leaves the field by your opponent, if this face-up card leaves the field by your opponent's card, or just by your opponent, okay, interesting. Would that trigger on, like, Daruma Cannon, I believe is what it's called. No, not that one. Would that trigger on, like, no, because that's like a game design. No, I think that's just like, it's the same as reading it if this leaves the field by your opponent's card. Okay, interesting. You can special summon an Earthbound monster from deck or extra deck, except for Earthbound Spirit. Notably, this actually does allow you to special summon out a... what is it? Earthbound in an Earthbound Immortal. That's crazy. That's very good. Oh, here's the Servant, Geo Gremlin. Gremlin! Oh my gosh, this artwork's actually great. I haven't actually talked about any of the artworks. None of them have really stood out, but that's just because I'm not a big fan of the Earthbound Immortal artworks. This one I love, though. A level 6 Dark Fiend Synchro effect monster, so you can make it with the 5 and the 1. Attack 2,000 and defense 1,000. A Dark Tuner and a non-tuner monster, pretty generic. You can only use the first and second effects of this card once per turn. During the main phase quick effect, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Your opponent chooses one of these effects for you to apply. Destroy that monster, or gain life points equal to that monster's attack. Interesting. Okay, not great. It's just kind of a way to get additional life points. Because very rarely are they going to choose to destroy a monster unless it's like tier or something like that. I can't really think of a deck that would find that advantageous. But you know, hey, target Kitkalos, and they're just like, okay, sure, I'll just destroy my monster. Very funny. During the battle phase, quick effect, you could fusion summon an Earthbound fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials mentioned on it from hand, field, and or grave. See, that is a decent effect. It's not crazy, but it's a decent effect, allowing you to go to the battle phase in order to like fusion summon to then like make it specifically, I would imagine, this guy. So again, not bad. This feels like it's supposed to be a going second strategy, but it's honestly not looking too great as a going second strat. But we have Earthbound Servant Geo Griffin as a level 8 Dark Fiend Synchro effect monster, 2515, and does require a Dark Tuner and a non-tuner monster, any non-tuner. So again, still pretty generic. This could be made with the level 3 tuner and the level 5 as well. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. Quick effect, you can special summon it in Earthbound monster from your graveyard in defense position, except for Spirit and Geo Griffin, which we still haven't come across Spirit. What is Earthbound Spirit? I'll look that up in a second. Because that doesn't look like it's not part of the new support. So I'll look that up in a second. Also, you can special summon a monster from the extra deck except for the rest of the turn, except for Fusion and Synchro. Cool. Just a free special summon of a monster from grave. It's not bad. It does summon in defense, sadly, so that's not the greatest, but still not bad. If this card is destroyed by your opponent, you can destroy a card on the field. Oh. Then inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each Earthbound monster with different names you control and in your grave. So again, another burn damage effect. Let me real quick look up Earthbound Spirit. Earthbound Spirit. Is this just like a random like normal monster or something like that? It's looking like it. That is exactly what this is. That is so funny. Just included in the archetype. Why not? What's the problem? Why would we not just include this in the archetype? It could have support. Who cares? Heaven forbid we search out a level 4 Earth Fiend monster that has no effect and is a vengeful creature formed by the spirits of fallen warriors. It drags any who dare approach it to the deepest bowels of the earth. Okay. Sure. Sure. Okay. Earthbound Prison is a new field spell card, which I would imagine is what we are trying to search out. When this card is activated, you can target an effect monster your opponent controls. This card gains this effect. Negate that monster's effect. Okay. So it just negates that effect? Just permanent effect negation? Cool. During your main phase, you can normal summon an Earthbound monster in addition to your normal summoner set. That's very nice. It allows you to either go into the Earthbound Immortals, or more specifically, allows you to normal summon something like the Earthbound Prison or Prison Groundkeeper, as well as then the Line Walker, which isn't bad, allowing you to search out both of those, which is pretty cool. Or special summon. So yeah, that's just pretty pretty good overall. And then if this card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and you have an Earthbound monster on your field or in your graveyard, have your opponent's life points. And if you do, negate the effects of all face-up cards they currently control until the end of this turn. Wow. That's a decent effect, I will say, for like dealing with the card. However, the problem with that is that there are so many other ways to specifically deal with just cards in general. Whether that's like you Lightning Storm and then that doesn't do anything. Even just activating like Cosmic Cyclone or MST or something like that literally doesn't do anything. Cosmic Cyclone, because this has to be destroyed by an opponent's card effect. Yeah. So, there you go. Moving on, we have Harmonic Synchro Fusion, which is a normal spell card, not a quick play, notably. You can only activate this card once per turn. You cannot special summon for the rest of yada yada. Send 2 face-up monsters you control to the graveyard, a tuner and a non-tuner, to special summon a fusion monster and a synchro monster from your extra deck that can be fusions or synchro using only the sent monsters in the grave as material. What the that is a crazy card. What? Special summon a fusion and a synchro monster. Send 2 face-up monsters you control to the graveyard, a tuner and a non-tuner, to special summon a fusion monster and a synchro monster from your extra deck that can be fusioned and synchroed using the same monsters in the grave as material. That is screaming to be broken. I feel like there are so many decks that could break that very easily. Maybe not right now. Maybe there aren't any decks that could do that right now. But I definitely think that there is a deck that's going to abuse this, that's just going to break the game. That is an insane card. Can this be searched? Harmonic Synchro Fusion. Can this be searched? I thought one of these could search that. Doesn't look like it. If it was searchable, this deck would be insane. Let me. That's still a very good card. Because if you draw this, you just get full combo. You get to summon this guy. And then you also get to summon this guy. Which is insane. Because this just requires any 2 Earthbound monsters. And then it searches the field spell. And then during, like, if your opponent goes to the battle phase, you get a quick fuse. Or if you go to the battle phase, you get a quick fuse. I'm not going to lie. This is pretty hype. All of these cards are pretty good. I wouldn't say that they are meta contending, but there are a lot of things in here that make me worried. I'm not the best at deck building. I can't think off of the top of my head of all of the possibilities that you could do things with this deck, but there definitely feels like there is something in here that you could potentially break. Line Walker is good. Like, all of these are good. These are great cards for basically a joke archetype at this point. Earthbound has been more or less irrelevant since release, and giving them such incredible cards is pretty nice. Now, they're not going to be tier 0 or anything like that, but I could see them becoming a nice competitive deck. At the very least, rogue tier, which is pretty cool. While I'm not a fan of this idea, I do think that it's pretty cool. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I also do think that this is one of the first archetypes where I've actually seen where it's like advantageous to go second. That has been printed in like a long time. Specifically, the fact that they actually gain some pretty decent effects during the battle phase, or if your opponent controls monsters, right? The biggest problem is, like, you still have to, like, Dark Ruler your opponent. You still have to, like, evenly match your opponent or something like that. You still have to play all of those big going second cards. But honestly, pretty good. That's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, I like this very much, so appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.